Rollie Cahalane's love of golf took root in his hometown of Cheyenne, Wyoming, where it was one of the many sports in which he competed. He also excelled in basketball, earning himself a scholarship to the University of Wyoming. But after a year in Laramie, he joined the Marines, serving in Hawaii and hooping as a member of the All-Marine team. Returning to Wyoming in the early 1960s, Rollie met and married Carol, who'd be his wife for 60 years. He coached high school and college basketball, and in 1967 took a job on the grounds crew at Cheyenne Country Club, making a name for himself as assistant superintendent while pursuing an accounting degree at Wyoming. Maintaining golf courses fit Rollie's athletic and active nature far better than the desk-bound world of numbers crunching, and by 1972 he'd moved his young family down I-25 for a head superintendent's position in Littleton, supervising the grow-in of the course at Roxborough Park, we now know as Arrowhead. The ownership's financial problems prompted Rollie to relocate to Four Lakes Golf Club, an ill-fated project that would soon become a residential subdivision in Centennial.
Shortly after Four Lakes went under, I hired Rollie to work for us at LL Johnson Distributing Company in our warehouse. I was a parts and warehouse manager at that time. So he worked for me in the warehouse for that summer. We got to know each other pretty well. Very likable man, always a great smile, high integrity. And I believe his next career job then was Columbine, where I became his salesman. Rollie and I had a great relationship. He was a little bit older than me, but he is, in a sense, coached me as to what is needed and expected in a good salesman. I respected him for helping coach me along.
A job as head superintendent at Columbine Country Club, which had hosted the 1967 PGA Championship and boasted Colorado Golf Hall of Famer Tony Nowitzki as its PGA professional, finally gave Rollie his big break. Shortly after arriving, Rollie's peers in the Rocky Mountain Golf Course Superintendents Association elected him their president. Columbine hosted 2 LPGA Tour Championships, the National Jewish Hospital Open in 1977, won by Joanne Carner, and the Columbia Savings LPGA Classic, won by Beth Daniel in 1980.
I think my dad was a forward thinker. He was kind of a tournament prep guy all the time. He liked fast greens. I wouldn't say famous, but he was noted for his fast greens and quality golf course.
I always saw him playing his own golf course. You can't see the golf course from driving around in the cart. It's best to see it while you're playing it, and I think my dad did that well. And so I've kind of followed suit on that one.
In 1981, Rollie headed to Inverness, where he'd spend the next 20 years not only working with PGA professional and Colorado Golf Hall of Famer Tom Babb, but also playing alongside him in Monday Pro-Ams. He and Inverness assistant pro Ken Krieger got on so well, Rollie caddied for him at the 1993 PGA Championship, which coincidentally took place in Toledo, Ohio, at a course also named Inverness.
He loved golf pros. He had a great relationship with every course he worked at, going back to Tony Nowitzki, Tom Babb. He considered them his friends.
I just always saw my dad going into the golf shop and communicating with the pros, and I've done that myself. I try and go in daily and just know what's happening on the golf course, and I learned that from my father.
In 1992, when the pros arrived at the Inverness to compete in the first Colorado Open not held at Haiwan Golf Club, Rollie had the course ready, and the championship returned for the next 5 years. Inverness also welcomed the John Elway-hosted Celebrity Classic in 1999 and hosted numerous Colorado PGA Section Championships.
Just my perception of Rollie, he had high expectations. He knew what the course was supposed to look like based on what his customers expected. And I would envision that those high expectations were expected out of his employees. How he handled them on the backside, I'm not sure, but I suspect he was demanding that he get the product that he expected out of his people. And I'm assuming because of his coaching background, he did a very good job in coaching and mentoring those employees too.
Rollie retired in 2001. His reputation as a leader, mentor, environmentalist, agronomist, and networker led the Rocky Mountain Golf Course Superintendents Association to make him a lifetime member, and the Rocky Mountain Regional Turfgrass Association to reward him with its highest honor, Turfgrass Man of the Year, in 1998. Although Rollie Cahalane passed in 2013, his legacy continues in the many superintendents he mentored. Those include his 3 sons, each of whom learned from their dad, graduated from Fort Lewis College, and became a superintendent at a premier course: Kevin at Telluride, Dave at Bear Dance, and Craig at Pole Creek. And like their father, Dave and Craig have both served terms as president of the Rocky Mountain Golf Course Superintendents Association.
My dad never pushed me or my 2 brothers to be a superintendent. It's just something that we fell into.
Yes, I was the last one to become a superintendent. I think at first he didn't want any of us to get into this business, but after it, I think he was extremely proud. You could see when we were at events, then when the 4 of us were together, he was beaming.
With great pride, the board of directors welcomes Rollie Cahalane into the Colorado Golf Hall of Fame.